Thank you so much, Nishant, for joining us on this podcast at Doddle.live. And going to be a pretty interesting session, discussing around a lot of technology stuff that Nishant is going to talk about. But before we go there, I would give a formal introduction about him. Nishant is a business and technology leader with extensive experience driving growth, global delivery, and customer success across IoT, SaaS, and enterprise technology domains. He's currently Director, India Global Account Delivery and CSM Lead at Eternia, where he has played a pivotal role in scaling the business 3x, building global delivery frameworks, and securing large enterprise deals across India, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. He has a very strong background, spanning across companies like Sprinkler, JLL, Accenture, and AI-driven platforms. He kind of combines product operations and client leadership to deliver scalable solutions, optimize performance, and drive profitability in a high-growth environment. Extremely grateful to be hosting you, Nishant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rishikesh, for having me on the podcast.
Nishant, the first one, which is very close to you, I think, and this is related to PropTech. So, you kind of have worked across both enterprise environment and now you're working for a PropTech startup, building solutions for workplace and real estate ecosystems. So,
Yeah.
from your experience, how has workplace technology evolved over the last decade, right from basic facility management tools to today's intelligent connected workplaces?
Right. So the first transition in the PropTech or workplace technology ecosystem happened somewhere after 2010, but a major shift happened post-COVID. COVID was actually a bigger transformation point. Now, there are three key main points that we can look at. First one will be earlier the tools used to be siloed. For example, an organization will have an independent inventory management system, an inventory EMMS, or an independent lease management or a real estate portfolio management solution.
Hmm.
Now, the focus has been to integrate everything and have a common operational platform.
Yes.
Right? So, this moves to the next point where the focus has shifted from just having a tool for the sake of technology to more of providing a better user experience and to enable data driven decision making. So, when you have one integrated platform, let's say any IWMS platform, integrated workplace management solution platform like Archibus. So, there you are combining multiple siloed solution into one single platform. So, within one building or one property, let's say in Bangalore, we have EcoSpace campus.
Yes.
Within one campus, you may have, let's say, three buildings. Instead of looking at one building in a silo, you can look at all three buildings together.
Yes.
For example, you have one inventory item which is in need in one building, building A, but in a tool you can see it's available in surplus in building B. So, right, instead of
Yes.
blocking your capital in dead stock,
Yes.
you can rotate that stock. Just example. And the third point has been that the PropTech in itself has moved from being a POC to a full-fledged ecosystem. Earlier in 2010 or before that, over a decade ago, PropTech, IoTs, automation, self-driving robots, all these things were just POCs. People were still trying to figure out, are they actually going to have some business value? Is there actually some return on investment in that? And eventually people realize that one is the actual dollar value in terms of return on investment. Second is the contribution in enhancing end user experience, which is intangible. So organizations have started taking a note of it, and depending upon their budget, upon their business decisions, requirements, and appetite, they are willing to go ahead with a blend of just the commercial ROI or the intangible and tangible benefits both. So that's how I would say the PropTech ecosystem has evolved.
Right. You're absolutely right. And all these, stuff has also started coming up where all these air quality monitors, and then you have so everything is kind of trying to integrate in one. So I've
Yes.
seen a lot of companies also coming up. I will not name them, but that is exactly their USP is that an air quality monitors data may help somewhere else.
Of course, let's say, so Eternia was formerly known as Smart Clean. So in fact, we are the OEMs of multiple sensors, which includes people counter, air quality sensor. We have a patented wetness detection sensor, among others. So just an example, people perceive that, let's say, ammonia levels are normal, and then if your indoor air quality index is normal, then it's clean. We have had cases where we installed our sensors in an office which was in basement one, where the humidity levels are very high. And because of the humidity levels, our sensor tracks humidity as well, humidity and temperature. Other three parameters were normal: ammonia, indoor air quality index, and temperature. Humidity levels were very high, because of which was creating mold, creating an environment where molds were growing more, because of which the overall air quality was getting deteriorated.
And you're absolutely right. These all things before COVID were taken as like kind of good to have kind of things.
Yes.
But now companies have realized that it directly affects employee productivity, directly affects the business, and has a cost angle also as attached to that in terms of there was a report I was reading is that companies which have an integrated workplace management technology their revenue surged by around 18%, so annually. So there is a direct correlation between increase in the revenue of that company with implementing a proper workplace technology solution.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So I think that is the usual pitch, like I think, Nishant, like when some workplace technology solution goes and talk to the companies, the companies will want will want to hear how does it affect the revenue, or they are more concerned about the employees or something like that. Like, if you
So
could.
our usual sales pitch has a couple of aspects. So one is the technology should not be for the sake of technology. I'm a firm believer. Now I have been in client position. Now I'm on the other side of the table. I'm a vendor, service provider. So I can correlate the mindset of both the parties. So first and foremost thing, a technology should have a tangible outcome. It cannot be just a showpiece. For example, we have a company in UK. I will not name the company. They make tiles which can generate electricity. Fascinating concept.
Yeah.
Around 9 years ago, I explored, can we do a POC? Can we do a trial? What we figured out is that the company directly claimed that our electricity generating tiles are not generating enough to make it a viable use case. It is a showpiece. Now, if you ask a business user, they won't be investing $100,000 just for a showpiece. They would expect some tangible outcome for it. So that's where the first point is. Now, the first benefit we should always target is it should bring in some kind of efficiency. It could be efficiency in terms of dollar value or efficiency in terms of productivity.
Yes.
In workplaces, let's say we have a housekeeping staff, his productivity is analyzed in terms of how many square foot area he can cover in a day. That's the benchmark. So usually, let's say if he's covering 7,000 square feet in a day, what can we do to enable him to increase that range from 7,000 to 8,000? That is a productivity boost. It could be as simple as giving him a caddy, where he can carry all his tools together. He doesn't have to go back to the inventory store. Or it could be using some kind of automation. He should be directed where actually there is a need instead of just going through time-bound cleaning. That's one of our USPs in Smart Clean. So what we call it as, instead of reactive, be proactive. You put your sensors, you have set thresholds. Let the sensor tell you where the cleaning is actually needed. You go there. Next is, how are you helping increase the user experience? For example, one of our products is feedback application. Now, user can ask for cleaning of an area by just giving a negative feedback. That is also enabling the end users, right? That if they need something, they can just log a complaint, a work order will be raised. We are empowering the end users also. Next is a side effect of it, I would say, or a benefit, not a direct, indirect benefit, is impact on sustainability.
Yes.
For example, if you are, let's say, using 1 liter of chemical to clean the floor, one approach is that you are moving towards eco-friendly or green chemicals. That is one aspect. Second, instead of using 1 liter, let's say you are just doing a time-bound cleaning in a building, in a day, let's say you are doing 100 times touch-up or the cleaning, right? Can we bring it down to 90 without impacting the overall quality and user experience? Just cut down the areas where it's not actually needed. For example, when we use our footfall analysis data in a building level, very frequently we see in a building, let's say if you have 30 toilets, one toilet will have a footfall of 20,000.
Yes.
There will be toilets which have a footfall of less than 2,000.
Yes.
Both are getting cleaned every 30 minutes.
Yes.
Right? So when we bring that optimization, on an average, we have seen there is a reduction of 30% in those touch-ups. Now, the 30% reduction is not just increasing the efficiency of the janitor, it is also reducing the consumption of chemicals. That 30% time the cleaning is not happening, we are not using those chemicals, we are saving that amount of water. So that's a intangible benefit towards the sustainability. So that is usually our sales pitch: efficiency, enhance user experience, being proactive, a contribution towards sustainability. And at the end, the entire system should be insightful. It should not just pop up some random numbers and analytics and dashboards. What will people do with that data? If I'm asking someone to spend half an hour to go through my dashboard to understand what needs to be done, then it has failed the purpose. People will move on to another solution. So they look at the dashboard, they should know, okay, these are the areas where these are the action items I need to do. For example, in one of our projects, we realized that the female toilets were giving a lot of complaints after 8 p.m.
Yes.
And what we realized is that after a lot of R&D, talking to these people on the ground, the account lead and all, we realized that after 8 p.m., the female cleaning staff was sent back home. So it was the male staff which were cleaning those female toilets.
Right.
And it was a 24 by 7 operating facility, a BPO. So of course, male staff will not be going to the restrooms because they'll have to block it.
Yes.
So that was creating issues in regular cleanup, and which was increasing the number of negative feedbacks. So the site team worked it out. They figured out that the peak usage is happening till 11 p.m. They figured out a way to have female staff stay till 11, arrange for their drop and everything. And that's how they mitigated it. So they look at the dashboard. We figured out this is the problem. We started the investigation and then we found a solution.
This is very insightful, actually. And, I kind of, Nishant, Subha mein, like, I was, so the hotel in which I'm staying in this place, I was talking to the person at the reception and he was telling me that a very good insight is that, sir, जिन रूम में women रहती हैं उनका ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट हमारा कम हो जाता है एज कम्पेयर टू जिसमें ना मेन रह रहे हैं और बैचलर जब रहते हैं तो उधर सो वी आर थिंकिंग ऑफ इम्प्लीमेंटिंग ए डिफरेंशियल प्राइसिंग कि अगर women आ रही है तो 4,000, अगर बैचलर आ रहा है तो 5,000.
I'll tell you a correlation to that in the facilities management ecosystem. What we have seen is the facilities where, let's say, a BPO kind of operation is happening as compared to facilities where, let's say, consultants are sitting, right? The number of cleaning requests, issues coming from the restrooms, the numbers vary. Because primarily because of the individual habits.
Yes.
Right. The way it takes just one user, no matter how much you try to keep your workplace clean, it takes one user to
destroy it.
Yes.
Nishant, when we kind of were looking at your profile earlier in your journey, you were deeply involved in implementing workplace technology like IWMS, IoT-based cleaning systems, and employee experience platform. And today you are shaping product strategy in this PropTech company. So what changes, when you basically move from implementing solutions for the clients to actually building products for the markets?
Biggest change has to happen in the mindset that I'm not building for one, I'm building for many. So I took some time to transition out of it because I was managing Accenture India's real estate and workplace technology portfolio via JLL. Now, it itself is a 15 million square feet portfolio. So enough complexities pan India. So my mind was totally into it. So when I went out to shaping the product, I had a lens which was one way or the other biased towards what I have seen and I have worked with. So eventually I had to come out of it, listen to more and more. And then we realized that we are working in an ecosystem where our touch points starts from the cleaning company, the cleaner who is cleaning the floor, all the way to the account directors who are looking at the data to make some business decisions. So how can we shape a product in a way that it is user-friendly, adaptable, yet provides enough insights to the person sitting at the top?
Yes.
Right. So that was one biggest change that had to be brought in. Second was we had to listen to the market. People have different requirements, but we have to understand is the market size of that requirement. Someone asked us, do you have sensors which can let me know if my water can is empty? Decent use case, but the market size of that use case is very small. If I have to spend $500,000 for the R&D to develop a sensor for that, I might not be able to recover the cost for that.
Yes.
But on the other side, we had the requirement from the clients that pest is a menacing problem, especially in India, when the manual pest vendors, they are not able to manage it properly. So we worked it out. We came up with a middle layer between the company and the pest vendor to bring in technology there. We have created IoT-based traps. We are using IoT sensors to find the path that the rodent takes. So usually the pest vendor will go into the false ceiling and see the feces, and then they will identify the path. Yes. Now, instead of that, you use a highly sensitive PIR sensors, infrared sensors, that will trigger when a rodent moves through that. You deploy multiple sensors across the property, you know the actual path. And then you deploy IoT-based trap, where the moment a rodent is trapped, it will trigger a work order. Otherwise, somewhere rodent will get trapped, it will die, it will start giving foul smell. You raise a work order, sometime later the guy will come. So yeah, that's the second key differentiation. Yes. And third, I would say that we have to think more broader than a point solution. Let's say as a client, I had a specific requirement. Is this solution able to do this? Now, after 2 months, the requirement changed. I had another scope, right? A plus B. Can this solution deliver the requirement B as well? Now, when we are shaping or designing the product, we have to keep that in mind, what all possible addition of scopes can happen. So I leave some scope for improvement without touching the base code. Otherwise, if I have to rework on the entire platform for the future enhancement, the cost, the effort, everything will spike tremendously. So we have to keep in mind, let's say for any solution we are designing, integration has to be factored. What kind of integration? How it will happen? Will it in future may go towards a path where a BI dashboard would be needed? Are our data points readily available to be plugged into a BI dashboard? So that's how we have to think in a broader perspective. So these are the couple of points I would say that has helped transition to the other side of the table.
So is it possible the other way around? Like, which is more difficult? Like, like you kind of transition into building products from basically, kind of making them available from the market, or is it like suppose somebody is building product and he wants to get into the other side? So that is more difficult, or this was more difficult?
Both have their own challenges. I wouldn't say one is more difficult than the other. When you are a client, you have a mandate. You have to fulfill that mandate. And it's also challenging at times because the mandate you have been given, you are not able to find a solution which is readily available to cater to your requirement. Then you'll have to scout for vendors, negotiate with them, work it out. Can you do this? Can you do that? Find a neutral ground, middle ground, where you let go of some of the features and the vendor agrees to add some of the features without having too much impact on the cost. Now, as a service provider, again, it's challenging. Every client wants something special, and for every client, their requirement is the highest priority.
Yes.
So how do you balance? So both have their own challenges, but yeah, having stepped into one shoe definitely helps you when you're stepping into the other shoe.
But I feel the first one that you did is a natural transition, because
yeah, I would say that definitely helps. It helps me understand how a client thinks.
yes, exactly, yes. That is why I always tell also, Nishant, all these younger people, like, who are in their 20s, I always tell them that 1-2 years you should be at the client location, understanding their requirements, even if somebody has to do product or something like that, because that kind of helps, and you are a live example of that. Nishant, you have worked on IoT driven solutions, like, you have worked on smart cleaning systems, asset tracking, workplace analytics. Now, in real world deployments, what kind of impact do these technologies actually create for larger enterprises in terms of, you talked about efficiency, cost, and user experience?
Right. Efficiency, it could be, I'll just reiterate those points. Efficiency, it could be the reduction in cost. Let's say you were doing a work with 20 manpower. Now you're able to do it with 15 manpower. That gives you a direct cost savings of 5 FTEs, full-time employees. Second, you can increase the productivity. Even if you increase the productivity by 10% or 15%, without having to let go of employees. For example, let's say you have a cleaner who is responsible for cleaning just one floor of workstations, right? Now you use time and motion study, Six Sigma, and you use some IoT sensors. You realize that he is working basically just 5 hours. Actual work time is just 5 hours. And in a shift, a person is expected to work 6 to 6.5 hours. Rest of the time will be breaks, walking, motion, some relaxing. That's acceptable. So we still have a bandwidth of 1 to 1.5 hours. So what extra can be assigned to him? Now, is the same person? Now, this is the data point we'll give to the account and they will figure it out. Can he be asked to, let's say he has some bandwidth, can he be asked, let's say there are requests coming towards shifting of furniture or some ad hoc requests towards cleaning of some workplace? Can those work orders be assigned to him so that he can finish them one by one during his off hours, even if he does not have enough workload? So this is an example of how we can increase his productivity, right? That's where the efficiency point comes into picture. Enhancing user experience. Well, workplace is where people should come and feel good about it. And if now most of the companies have their own ticketing system, but how many times you think you will be keen to open a ticketing tool, let's say, for example, ServiceNow, and lodge a complaint? You will only do if you are very irritated.
Yes.
For small things, you won't do it. And that irritation will keep on piling up till the time you are forced to raise a ticket and escalate it.
Yes.
Why not give a place to employees to ask for remedial actions by just scanning QR codes, giving a feedback, right?
Yes.
Small touch points. And again, I talked about the proactiveness. Instead of being reactive, can you try to be as much proactive as possible? For example, your water monitoring sensors.
Yes.
They can detect if there is a leakage somewhere. Why do you have to wait till there is actual leakage? Just use those sensors. Be proactive. Why do you have to wait till the air quality deteriorates? Why do you have to wait till there is a water spillage or flooding on the floor? Have some sensors which can detect flooding or spilled on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah, and the last point I think I mentioned was again bringing everything together in form of insightful dashboards, which can allow a data-driven decision making.
Yes.
This is the keyword: data-driven decision making. Everyone is looking for this. They just don't want to take a decision by gut feeling anymore. If there is
Yeah.
data, it should support them.
Yes. I think so. When you look at the global markets, where do you feel India lies in terms of workplace technology solutions implementation?
I would say we are a couple of years behind Singapore. Now, Eternia or Smartly,
Yeah.
we are operating both in Singapore and India
Yeah.
as our primary markets. In other markets in APAC, we are operating through our partners like Middle East, Malaysia, Philippines, Japan, Australia, and other markets. So there is a difference in the approach. First and foremost, the ROI calculation. In developed countries, of course, labor is expensive. Bringing technology which can substantiate or reduce that labor cost, it's much more easy and much more acceptable. In India, you have to really struggle hard to prove an ROI. And if you can nail that in India, you can nail it everywhere.
Anywhere. Yes.
Anywhere. Key difference will be that the way market operates. In other markets, let's say developed markets, everything is documented. You go line by line. There is, of course, there is a personal relationship. A lot of things get addressed here and there. But then majority of the action happens based on the documents, SOW that you have. In India, contract is there, SOW is there, but Indian market is very much a contact, interpersonal, relationship driven market.
Yes.
A lot of things
Yes.
it's done over the phone call.
Yes.
People try to get things done, especially when we talk about a workplace solution where it's I would say it's the hidden aspect of running the show. Employees come to office, they work, they have their enjoy the ambience, enjoy the culture, all the facilities, go back home. Workplace is that makes it happen. Not many people are aware what it takes to make that happen. Right.
Yes.
So in that aspect, even before documenting anything negative via mail, the intent is always just get on a call, can we get it done quickly before it escalates? Just try to be proactive. So, and that interpersonal thing is both the parties. It's not just one way street. At times, as a vendor, it helps us mitigate a resolution, mitigate an issue before it escalates. From the client side, if there are some minor discrepancies, let's say a payment is delayed a little bit, the PO is delayed a little bit, of course, they inform us and we accept it. It's fine.
Yes.
So the kind of interpersonal relationship, the way it works in India, is little on the deeper side as compared to other developed markets. Again, in terms of the resource availability for actual implementation on the ground. In developed markets, you will get access to resources. The working conditions are very strict. For example, if I have to do an installation, there is a standard checklist I need to follow. It will be adhered to. Step 1 has to be, step 2 has to be this, step 3 has to be this. The government guidelines are there. It has to be enforced. In India, since we are an international company, we enforce those practices in India as well. But in general, we have seen a lot of other companies don't put that much of focus there because it's not the normal industry norm. So gradually, India has to be built because it's for the safety and risk mitigation for all the parties involved. And last and foremost is the technology adoption. The average blue collar staff in the industry that we operate is in a way less tech savvy than the average blue collar staff in a developed market. So the technology adoption becomes a challenge. So you have to ensure that whatever solution you're bringing, it's simple for the person at the bottom of the pyramid to use and update. Because the person at the bottom of the pyramid is the one who is actually filling the data, doing the things. It all piles up and stacks in form of insightful dashboard to the top. So as it says in computer terminology, garbage in, garbage out. So it so these are the key aspects I would say where India differs from other developed market. I'm not talking about US. What happens in US trickles down to Singapore or Hong Kong kind of a market after 5 years, and what happens in Singapore, Hong Kong trickles down to India after 5 years.
I think there are there are a few things where we are ahead. Fintech is one of them.
Yes, yes, I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, there are multiple aspects. I think when you talk to your family members or friends who are staying there, US or UK, you will realize that we are in a good spot right now.
Yes.
Going off the topic, healthcare is the biggest boon of us staying in India. We don't have to wait for 2 months just to get an appointment with a doctor.
It is true. Nishant, one of the biggest challenges in workplace technology is fragmentation, and you have already mentioned that in the first 5 minutes. Is that multiple systems for asset maintenance, employee experience, analytics? So, based on your experience, suppose there's an organization which wants to move towards a truly integrated workplace ecosystem. What should be the approach? How can they go towards that?
So, when the scoping is being done, there has to be a very clear end goal in mind. What is it that we want to achieve? And what are the decision making parameters we want to have? And what all decisions this solution is going to impact? Instead of taking it just a technical exercise, it has to be taken as a holistic deployment. I'll give you a simple example. Just name of a location. You have 5 different tools. You want to merge all of them into one, right? Now, the same location, A block, gents restroom. Let's say this as a simple example. There are multiple ways the same location can be written. A dash block dash gents restroom. A space block space gents restroom. A block underscore gents restroom. You can think of all combination. Now, in your 5 different tools, same location can be named in 5 different ways. It may also happen that in the same tool, the same location is mentioned in 3 different ways.
Yes.
So when you're treating it just as a technical exercise, you have same location mentioned in 8 different ways.
Yes.
So of course, when you're doing the analysis,
Yes.
you won't have all the data points pinning down to just one location.
Yes.
And the end decision making will not be scientific.
Yes.
So it has to be a holistic exercise rather than just a technical exercise. That's all I would say in a nutshell.
I got it. You explained it in like
these are all the pain points I have gone through, I have struggled. It's years of experience and white hairs talking.
Dishant, you have delivered solutions across India, Middle East, Southeast Asia, working with very large global clients. So, what are the key differences in how workplace technology is adopted across these regions? Especially, would like you to focus on the Middle East and Southeast Asia part. And what should companies keep in mind when they are scaling globally from the perspective of an Indian company?
Right. So when an Indian company is planning to go out in international market, the first thing is they need to actually figure out, do they want to invest time, resource in setting up their own entity there, managing everything by themselves, or they should go through a partner. That's the biggest lesson learned. You don't need to be present yourself in every market. You can try, and if you want to test the waters first, it's always recommended you go through a partner. Always start with attending some expos where you can get some leads. Tie up with a company which you think could be a good partner. After some events, you get some leads, try to run some POCs, try to convert them. And by that time, you will realize how good your partner is, how is able to support you in the entire sales process. After that, in the delivery process, do they have enough competent resources to help you provide after sales service as well? If not, within, let's say, a cycle time of 3 to 4 months, you will get to know if this is the right partner or not. If it's the right partner, then you can evaluate if the partner is being transparent with you, especially in terms of commercials and deliverables and commitment to the client. Isn't it that you are just taken as a tech support while the partner is showcasing it as everything is done by them? That situation should be avoided. It should be a co-driven.
Yes.
Any solution delivery should be co-driven. Both the entities should have a clear stake on the table. They should be aware what has been committed and what is being delivered. Many a times your partner may overcommit, commit for some features which are not there, and then you will be forced to develop it. And if you don't do it, it's not just the partner's name that is getting spoiled, it's your name also getting spoiled in a brand new market. You don't want to end up in that situation. So this is one key component you should focus on. If you have enough business coming in from a market, if you see enough potential, then you can think of setting up yourself. But you have to remember that setting up yourself is a lot of admin commitment.
Yes.
It goes beyond the technology. Running the show itself takes a lot of time and effort, right? Meeting the compliances and all. Second, you have to be aware of the from the compliances. The second point relates to it. What are the rules and regulations of that particular market? As a hardware certification, sensor certification that you have, is it applicable for that market? Is there any additional compliance that you'll have to fulfill? Is your sensor working on certain frequencies for that you need to take some additional approvals? Is it fit to be deployed in that market? Right? That's the two main aspects of it. And in terms of how the solutions are being seen and adopted in other markets, the biggest thing is the business drivers. What is the business account looking at? For example, let's say we are working with a large real estate group in Singapore, and they are looking to transform the malls, the operations of the malls, do a complete digital transformation. So we have worked with them. We have co-created a solution for them where right from the attendance to their work order management to feedback to how frequently they're able to clean the task, to the audits that the end client is doing. Everything comes together to give a performance scorecard, basis which the end party will be evaluated, the judged. In India, we are still not there. Outcome-based contracts are a norm in developed markets. In
Yes.
India, only selected companies have moved to outcome-based contracts. In India, I would say still 5%, only 5% of the market is taken up by proper FM companies like Sodexo, CBRE, JLL, right? Rest 90-95% is still unfragmented.
Fragmented. Yeah.
But in developed markets, majority of the entities are run by the facility management players. Even if not at the ground level, they're at least providing management layer in between.
Yes.
That itself makes things very clear, because the business there are looking for ways to digitize, ways to automate, and they're pretty okay about the cost. As the labor cost is cheaper, it's
Yeah.
an added incentive for them.
Hmm.
And another thing is the decision making culture. They still would like to have data driven decision making. I keep using that word again and again because it is the norm. The gut
Yes.
feeling concept
Yes.
is there, but it has to be backed by certain amount of data, because
Yes.
those are very competitive markets, right? Singapore, Hong Kong, even Dubai for that matter, they are very competitive markets.
Yes.
Every decision has to be substantiated because the cost implications are way higher than it would be in India.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I would say these are the key points that differentiates India and international markets.
These were well explained, and I think a lot of them are valid for the other industries as well. Like
Yes, across the board. However, let's say other markets like Philippines or Vietnam, you can see they are more or less at the same path as India, where given the sensor costs are on the higher side, still there is a reluctance. They prefer to go with SaaS or QR code based solutions, which are relatively cheaper to deploy and operate. So you have to look into the market, the labor cost, what kind of market it is, and then of course you can take a call.
I think Vietnam is a very kind of is a growing geography, and I think it needs a lot of Indian solutions as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So Nishant, also yes, I had one question while you were speaking. Is that why do you think India may only 5-6% facilities are being managed by you know facility management companies, and the other 95% is being so fragmented? Is it only because of the labor cost, because it's cheaper in India, or it's like
It's also about the mindset. See, quality comes at a price. When you are asking a facility to be managed by CBRE or JLM,
yes,
they are, even in FM segment,
yeah,
they are little more expensive than the companies which will offer the same solution at a lower cost, because they put a lot of emphasis on the resource training, the compliance, the documentation, the intangibles, right?
yes,
There are a lot of things which are not directly associated with how you are doing things on the ground. For
mm,
example, the salary of the security guard. You can get security guard at, let's say, 15,000 per month. You can get security guard at, let's say, 20,000 per month. The key difference, the security guard at 15,000 per month will be inexperienced, 1 to 2 years of experience hardly,
yes,
lesser skilled in lesser skilled
service,
in, let's say, soft services or soft
oh,
skilling aspect. If you have a security guard who is 5-6 years old,
yes,
more experience, heavily trained, the way a guard responds in an environment where a lot of ladies are walking,
yes,
right? That is a big differentiation. And
yeah,
for that, if another firm is charging a premium, they
yes,
are allowed to, they should be able to charge that, because they have invested the time and effort in training that resource,
mm,
right? A lot of companies in India don't want to pay that extra amount
mm,
to the facility management players.
mm,
It could be budget or it could be the mindset. A lot of companies think we will just manage it ourselves.
mm,
We will have an inside admin who
mm,
will manage everything. Up to a certain scale, it is fine.
mm,
But beyond a certain scale, again, it's a business decision. That's
yeah,
where the whole outsourcing concept came in. You
yes.
want to focus on your key strength, or you want to just spend time and effort on managing other things, which can be better done by others who are specialists in those areas.
Now, when we look ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunities in workplace technology? Do you see workplaces becoming fully automated, data-driven environments? And what role will AI and IoT play in shaping the future?
See, workplace, fortunately or unfortunately, is a domain which cannot be 100% automated. How do you say that you like your office?
Mm,
You like going to office, right?
mm,
The way you say home is where your family is.
yes,
Similarly, your office is where you and your colleagues are, right? The warmth that you get by interacting with them,
mm,
the warmth that you feel by accessing the amenities, the facilities in your office,
yes,
that is what makes your workplace something that you would like to go to attend frequently. So this is not a domain which can be automated because that personal warmth is always needed here. However, the opportunity always lies. This segment has heavily been paper and pen driven. So there is still a lot of scope of automating the workflows. There is still a lot of opportunity for digitizing the data points, which can translate into actionable insights. AI will have a role to play in terms of optimizing the processes,
Yes.
reducing the workload on the people who are running the show, the documentation, the compliance, managing the communication flow, how the information travels through the different chain of command, different resources, different people. So it is always a scope of optimization, efficiency improvement, process improvement, but that's where it is. IoT will help you to collect more data, bring in more cost efficiency. For example, your desk occupancy solution.
Yes.
The more and more you use, it will help you optimize your, instead of having, let's say, 100 seats for 100 employees, you know that few will always take leave, few will work from home. You can actually use 100 desks for 200 employees based on the data. So those kind of optimization and efficiencies can always be brought in, but human presence will always be needed, won't be 100%.
And where is the role of AI in this?
So AI, again, the way I see it is AI will only come into picture when you are converting your data points into actionable insights and when you are trying to optimize the workflows. So what is automation in nutshell? In plain and simple language, any activity which is getting repeated again and again, that can be automated. For that, you can have your AI agents, you can have your AI chatbots, you can have your sensors, data points, right? But when we talk about the actual AI, how many times would you like, if you are raising a complaint, especially you are doing a call to a customer care, if a robotic agent response
Will not talk.
what is it feeling, right?
I
You
don't-
keep struggling to find to dial numbers to call to speak to a human agent when you're calling to some of these banks, and
मतलब
eventually
मैं तो निशांत mid-30s में हूँ, मैं तो नहीं
हाँ.
बात करता, बट ये जेनजी लोग बात कर लेते हैं.
A workplace is a mix of entire bunch, right?
हाँ.
From Gen Zs to people who are about to retire.
Yes.
So, especially in a workplace environment, if those friction points are there, at times, see, that's what I said, the warmth of that human element, it
Yes.
has to be there in workplace. For you to be felt that I'm welcome in my office.
Yes.
If that warmth goes away, AI can do a lot of things. Just for example, when you call to your office, have some request, a lot of things can be managed, documentation, some user guides, some SOPs can be done through the chatbot and all.
Yes.
But when you are angry, when you are upset, you need someone to comfort you. You need someone to listen to you. Right? That, in my personal opinion, is the USP of the workplace industry. They make things happen behind the scene. And when employee is agitated, they listen. So employee feels that someone is there to listen to me. Right? That feeling will always be there.
Yes. And that is actually the need of the day, actually, Nishant. You are, bang on this. I'm seeing a lot of people in their early 30s. Yesterday only, kind of very close friend of mine, he's getting anxiety attacks. Like, he goes to the office, he comes back, his BP fluctuates between, say, 120 to even going till 180. So, and I think this is the need of the day, because that warmth should not go away, that connection should not go away. And that is what,
I'm still in touch with my team. In ITC Infotech, I had a very great team. We worked for 5.5 years together. All of us were more than 4 years there together. So we still are in touch. And that warmth is still there because we have celebrated birthdays together. We have celebrated events together. We have gone through ups and downs together.
Yes.
That's why a lot of companies are still insisting for a hybrid work model, because your work life and your personal life are two compartments.
Yes.
And I feel you should not try to mix both of them.
Yes.
And whatever you have to share with for your work life, you should have your team.
Yes.
At times, not just your boss, your peers, to talk things out. So exactly what you said.
मतलब थोड़ा bitching भी जरूरी है कंपनी के अंदर.
Yeah, you need a place to vent out. See, position, I manage a team. I am very open in terms of communication, but of course, my subordinates cannot come and tell everything to me. So I need to give them space to vent it out with their colleagues as well.
वो सामने वाला चाय वाला दुकान भी important है.
Yeah, sutta break भी important है.
Thank you so much, Nishant. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for explaining all the concepts in such a layman term that all our audience will be able to understand. And thank you again for taking out time to kind of talking with us. And we look forward to hosting you again, maybe on a different set of topics. Thank you so much.
Sure, Rishikesh. Thank you so much. I'm really happy for this conversation, and I hope viewers can gain some insights of this domain, which is largely behind the scenes,
Yes.
and they appreciate the efforts that's taken by the workplace team to make a workplace office of their dreams.
Thank you, Nishant.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.